She has everything, yet no one dares to approach. Picture this, a woman walks into the gym. She's radiant. Her presence lights up the space, hair in place, confident posture, clothes that fit just right. Occasionally, she glances around, adjusts her headphones, gives a small, polite smile to someone walking by. And yet, no one talks to her. No one approaches. People notice, but they keep their distance. She finishes her workout, walks out, and disappears into the noise of the day. Alone. To most, this scene is confusing. If she's that attractive, shouldn't men be lining up to get her attention? Shouldn't someone have said something by now? A compliment, a hello, at least a smile in return. Here's where the twist begins. The very things that make her seem desirable are the same things that make her feel unapproachable. People assume she must already be taken, or that she hears compliments all day and would ignore one more. Or worse, they believe she's too good for them, and so they withdraw before even trying. The irony is painful. The more beautiful or magnetic someone appears, the more others hesitate. Not because she's done anything wrong, but because we project our fears and insecurities onto her silence. We read into what she hasn't said, and in doing so, we create a barrier where none existed. What if the real problem isn't that no one is interested? What if it's that no one is sure they're allowed to be? That no one sees a clear signal that says it's okay to step forward? This leads us to an uncomfortable but revealing truth. In the world of nonverbal connection, silence is rarely golden. It's usually misread. A glance that lasts half a second too short. A smile that doesn't reach the eyes. A stillness that feels more like a wall than a welcome. So she walks through the world being seen but never truly approached. Admired from afar but untouched by genuine connection. She has everything, and still, she feels invisible. But here's the most important question. If attraction is present, why is no one responding to it? Why does connection feel so out of reach for someone who seemingly has it all? Maybe it's not about beauty, maybe it's about the signal, not the one she thinks she's giving, the one they actually see. And that brings us to the real problem, when the disconnect isn't in her intention, it's in perception. What happens when people believe you're sending a signal but never actually receive it? Let's look at that next. They don't see the signal you think you're sending. Most of us believe we're more transparent than we are. We assume that if we're interested, it shows. That a small smile, a quick glance, or the way we hold ourselves should be enough for someone to get the message. But the truth is, the signals we think are obvious often go completely unnoticed. This gap between intention and perception has a name in psychology. It's called Signal Amplification Bias. It means we tend to overestimate how visible our signals really are. You think you were clear, but to someone else, your message barely existed. This matters most in moments of connection, especially romantic ones. There's a number that illustrates this perfectly. For a man to feel safe enough to approach a woman, researchers found he needs to perceive around 29 positive signals from her in the span of just 10 minutes. That's almost 3 per minute. Not just one glance or a polite smile. He's looking for a consistent stream of cues that reassure him he's welcome. Now think about how easily that can fall apart. One missed smile. 1 second too long looking away. A neutral expression that's misread as disinterest. Suddenly, instead of green lights, all he sees are yellow or red. And so, he holds back. And when he doesn't approach, the woman may assume it's rejection. She wonders why no one notices her. The absence of response becomes a kind of silence that stings. Over time, that sting becomes hesitation, then withdrawal. The less response you get, the more you pull back. You smile less. You make less eye contact. You stop sending signals altogether. Slowly, invisibility becomes the new normal. Not because you're not worth seeing, but because you've been misunderstood again and again. That's the quiet loop that traps so many people. You feel unseen, so you stop expressing. And because you stop expressing, you remain unseen. But not everyone lives in that loop. Some people seem effortlessly magnetic, not louder, not more beautiful, just more readable. They make others feel safe, noticed, and invited. And they do it without saying much at all. It starts with learning what a clear signal actually looks like and how to send one without saying a single word. Beauty isn't enough. You have to know how to send the right signals. Attraction doesn't begin with how you look. It begins with how you make others feel when you walk into a space. Your appearance might turn a head, but your energy decides whether someone stays engaged or turns away. Beauty is the shell. Presence is the invitation. The truth is, most people aren't paying attention to your features as much as you think. They're reading your signals. The way your eyes linger or shift, the softness or stiffness in your jaw, the way your hands move when you speak, your posture, your head tilt, the direction your feet point. All of it speaks long before your voice ever does. These are availability cues, subtle physical gestures that signal whether you're open or closed, safe or guarded. They tell others whether they're welcome to connect or whether they should keep their distance. Now here's the catch. Many people believe they're being warm, while their face and body are sending the opposite message. A common example is what's often called the resting bothered face. When your natural expression, especially when neutral or focused, is misread as annoyance, judgment, or disinterest. It's not your fault. It's just a mismatch between how you feel inside and how it shows up outside. But others won't ask. They'll assume. And in the absence of a clear welcome, most people won't risk stepping forward. It's a harsh truth. You could be kind, open, and deeply interested and still be mistaken for cold or distant. Not because you are, but because your signals are quiet, inconsistent, or unclear. What creates connection is not stillness or perfection. It's motion, it's energy, it's presence that feels alive. A slight lean in, an eyebrow lift, a relaxed shoulder, a curious glance. These small shifts create what the mind reads as safe. They say, I'm paying attention. I'm here. I see you. And this is why beauty alone rarely leads to deep connection. No one builds trust with a statue. People connect with what moves, what breathes, what mirrors back a feeling of being seen. The good news is this isn't about pretending. It's about becoming more conscious of the signals your body is already sending, and then shaping them intentionally. Not to manipulate, but to align your outer language with your inner openness. Because once your signals and your sincerity line up, something remarkable happens. You stop feeling invisible. You stop being misunderstood. You start to feel seen not just for how you look, but for how you make others feel in your presence. And all of that can begin with something so small, most people overlook it. One simple word, one moment of courage, one signal that says everything without needing anything more. Hey, the simplest word that unlocks everything. There's something disarming about the word hey. It's not clever. It's not scripted. It doesn't try too hard. And that's exactly why it works. It slips under the radar of fear and expectation. It doesn't demand. It simply opens the door. In a world full of people waiting for the perfect line or the perfect moment, hey feels like a breath of fresh air. It's light, it's human, it carries no pressure, no obligation, just presence. But make no mistake, the way you say it matters far more than the word itself. A slow, grounded hey spoken from the chest carries something powerful. When your voice drops just a little, when your breath is steady, when your gaze meets theirs for a beat longer than usual, it sends a message beyond words. It says, I see you. I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to connect. That moment of eye contact, held just long enough to be felt, but not long enough to be intimidating, changes everything. It transforms the space between two people from static to possibility. Social experiments have shown this over and over. Strangers who exchanged nothing but a simple hey with the right tone and presence were more likely to continue the interaction, more likely to feel relaxed, and more likely to remember the moment hours later. Why? Because it felt natural, not rehearsed, not performative, just real. Compare this with overcomplicated pickup lines or forced conversations. They might grab attention, but they rarely build trust. Connection isn't built through effort alone. It's built through ease, through familiarity that doesn't feel fake. And the truth is, hey doesn't just create space, it gives permission. It allows the other person to step in at their own pace, with their own comfort, in their own way. But as gentle and powerful as it is, hey is only the beginning. It cracks open the door. What happens next depends on what you do with that moment. Because the real connection begins not when you speak, but when someone feels like they've found a piece of themselves in what you've said. People are drawn to you when they see themselves in you. Attraction isn't born in admiration. It's born in recognition. The moment someone sees a glimpse of their own experience reflected in yours, something clicks. That spark isn't about being impressive. It's about feeling understood. Psychologists call these Me Too moments. They're small, often spontaneous points of overlap, shared context, shared emotions, shared habits. And they're far more powerful than most people realize. It could be something as simple as a comment in the right setting. After a tough workout, a quiet, "This class is no joke, huh?" Or while sipping coffee, a relaxed, "This place always smells like my old neighborhood." These aren't deep confession, they're openings. They create bridges between strangers without trying to force a connection. What they say underneath is clear. I'm here too. I feel this too. You're not alone. Most people think attraction comes from standing out, from being different, from being flawless. But what actually draws people in is the comfort of familiarity, that gentle sense that you don't have to explain yourself, because somehow this person already gets it. And that's why connection deepens not through perfect delivery, but through shared reality. When you say something that invites someone else to nod, to smile with recognition, you've already done more than any rehearsed line ever could. This is where storytelling becomes a quiet superpower. Instead of asking, "So, what do?" you say, "I always forget how strong the espresso is here. Every time I leave with my heart racing." Suddenly, the conversation isn't a Q&A, it's an experience. One they can step into, reflect on, and respond to with something of their own. Because once someone relates to you, they open up, they stop evaluating and start connecting. They're no longer wondering if they like you. They're remembering something about themselves in your words. And that kind of resonance stays with them. You don't need to talk louder or shine brighter. You just need to offer a moment where the other person feels seen. And sometimes, All it takes is the right sentence in the right setting to turn two people from strangers into something more. And when that happens, when someone begins to feel like you understand their world, they stop seeing you as a stranger. They start seeing you as someone they can trust. Sincerity is the only way to stand out without trying. Somewhere along the way, we were taught that silence is attractive, that being mysterious, detached, unreadable somehow makes us more desirable. But in reality, silence is rarely interpreted as intrigue. It's seen as distance, and distance rarely invites closeness. The truth is, what many call cool often feels cold, and when someone seems too composed, too indifferent, too hard to read, most people don't lean in. They back away. Imagine a woman who walks through life like she's above the noise. She doesn't smile. She doesn't engage. She rarely initiates. She believes her calm detachment makes her magnetic. But what it really does is isolate her. People assume she's uninterested, unimpressed, unavailable, and so they stay away. Being emotionally guarded isn't the same as being emotionally strong. It's protection. But sometimes that armor ends up blocking exactly what we're hoping to receive. Now contrast that with children. When a kid wants to make a friend, they don't rehearse a line. They walk up and say something simple like, "Do you like dinosaurs?" It's direct, it's genuine. And more often than not, it works. Because kids aren't afraid of showing they want connection. They're not embarrassed by curiosity, but somewhere between childhood and adulthood, we begin to fear looking too eager. We worry that showing interest means giving power away on them, so we hide it. We play it safe, and in doing so, we lose the very thing that makes us feel real. Here's the twist most people miss. Expressing interest openly, sincerely, is not weakness. It's courage. It's the kind of strength that says, "I'm not here to prove anything. I'm here to connect." People are drawn to what feels warm and human, not what feels perfect and untouchable. A sincere compliment, a genuine laugh, a curious question. These are the moments that cut through the noise. You don't need to be impressive. You just need to be honest. Honest about what you like. Honest about who you are. Honest about the fact that yes, sometimes you're simply hoping to be noticed by someone who sees the world like you do. And yes, being sincere means you might not always be met with the same energy. Some people won't respond. Some won't know what to do with your openness. But that doesn't make your sincerity a mistake. It makes it rare. And it's that rarity that makes it unforgettable. You don't need everyone to like you. You just need to be seen the right way. Real attraction has never been about winning over the crowd. It's not about being liked by everyone. It's about being recognized, truly recognized by someone who sees you clearly. Someone who feels the quiet truth behind your presence and chooses to move closer. Trying to be universally appealing is a losing game. The more you try to please everyone, the less anyone truly feels connected to you. Because connection doesn't come from blending in. It comes from being visible in your full, honest form. But visibility doesn't just happen. It requires something from you. It requires a signal. When you don't send one, when you stay guarded, still. Silent people don't walk away because they've rejected you. They walk away because they never really noticed you in the first place. Not the real you. Not the one that laughs unexpectedly. Not the one that lights up over strange little details. Not the one that feels deeply and quietly hopes someone else feels the same. That's the real cost of hiding. Not being disliked, being unseen. To send a signal is to declare your presence. It's to say, without words, that you're open to what might unfold. And that's not about chasing approval. It's about alignment. about showing up in a way that reflects who you really are, not just what you think others want to see. Because when you learn to send signals that match your spirit, you stop waiting. You stop guessing. You start living in the space where connection happens naturally. Because you're finally letting yourself be felt. And maybe that begins with the simplest gesture. A glance that lingers. A smile that means something. A voice that speaks not from fear but from truth. Maybe, just maybe. It starts with one small word. So the next time you see someone who moves something in you, someone who reminds you that you're still alive in this world, don't overthink it. Smile and say one word. Hey, one.